Hi everyone, welcome to another installment of Beyond Talks, where we, Beyond Identity, talks to you, cybersecurity professionals, about interesting trends and topics in the industry. My name is Jing, I lead product marketing at Beyond Identity, and today our topic is the 2025 CrowdStrike Global Threat Report. CrowdStrike publishes this report every year, and it's based on their best data gathered from their threat intelligence analysts, and they have a huge very credible team. So let's get into it. First and foremost, CrowdStrike identifies identity-based attacks as the easiest entry point for initial access. In fact, they have a line in there that I really loved that says, it's very crisp. It's just checking my notes. Every breach starts with initial access, and identity-based attacks are among the easiest pathways for attackers to gain initial access. And this is because identity-based attacks like phishing, brute force, social engineering are fast, simple, and extremely stealthy for the bad actor. Because, as we like to say, bad actors don't want to break in. It's hard. They just want to be able to log in with legitimate user credentials. Now, something interesting, there's three interesting things about this report that I want to pull out. One is the dramatic increase in vishing attacks. So vishing is voice-based phishing, right? So this is when a bad actor uses a phone call or a video conference call to get a user to give up their credentials, or to get IT desk to reset a user's credentials, or to phish IT, which is a big problem because then they can get admin credentials. So in 2024, vishing went up by 442% from the first half to the second half. So that is a meteoric rise. And CrowdStrike cites this and, in conjunction, talks about how bad actors are using generative AI to perform these phishing attacks and to basically lower the cost of entry for phishing, and essentially automating all of the parts that could be very difficult with phishing, like reproducing a convincing email, reproducing a convincing voice. So this in conjunction has really done a lot of damage in the industry because, if users can't trust a voice, if they can't trust an image, then we can't trust our eyes as a legitimate way to decipher if someone on the other side is real or a deepfake. So this is a very concerning trend. The second thing I want to call out is bad actors are increasingly moving away from malware-based attacks to double down on credential-based attacks. This is partly because of the proliferation of endpoint detection and response tools, right? Malware is now harder to deploy, easier to detect and respond to. However, the credential remains a viable point of entry, and interestingly, in years before, bad actors would steal a credential, brute force a credential, whatever it might be, and then they would use it to log in as a legitimate user, and then they would immediately change the login credential so the end user would be locked out, triggering sort of a incident response with IT. Bad actors now have started, they've grown a little smarter. They're trying to fly under the radar more. So they no longer change the credential once they're in. They just use legitimate credentials for as long as the user or IT doesn't change it, right? So their persistence can be longer, lateral movement is faster. Once they get into a system, one of the first things that they look for is actually more credentials. So that really tells you how valuable credentials are. So we talked about vishing, Gen AI, we talked about, malware not being the preferred route for bad actors for initial entry. The last point I want to pull out from this report is there is a significant decrease in breakout time. So once you have initial access, breakout time is how long it takes for the bad actor to gain access and move laterally. So now we're sitting at 48 minutes, or as fast as 51 seconds, which is quite concerning for defenders of organizations, right? That is a short amount of time to be able to assess that something's wrong. So that's the report in a nutshell. I do want to leave you folks with some mitigation strategies, right? It's not all doom and gloom. CrowdStrike recommends a strong fortification of identity and access management. If bad actors want to take the route of least resistance, let's cut it off for them. Let's eradicate the root cause of credential-based and identity-based attacks, which is weak phishable credentials, right? So once you can implement universal phishing resistant MFA, you can cut off the best path for threat actors to gain initial access. So if you found this interesting, we wrote up a brief key points only blog on our website at beyondidentity.com, or I'm sure you can just Google and the report will come right up. If you have any questions, comments, things that surprised you, just leave a comment. Thank you for joining me, and until next time for the next Beyond Talks.